What's up guys, today this will be maybe a 1-hour video. This is also facts about Tpot and how Tpot 2 is going to go. Like and subscribe if you want me to make more like this. Anyways, what's beyond humanity on July 23, 2020? About the episode's release date, saying there is no release date and that the Tpot crew is allowed to take more time with production if they wish. 1. Pookie tweeted about the episode's slower production on August 19, 2020, and states that it's not due to laziness. Instead, it's because quite a few Tpot crew members also have to work on BFT, which has greater priority for them due to the frequent episode output and also the fact that the current Tpot crew is relatively smaller compared to BFT's crew. 2. And the secret behind BFT's split on March 28, 2020, Carrie Huang states around 3:36 that the community may have to wait 4 or 5 months for every new episode of The Power of Two. Screenshot 20200417161917.jpg. Jack Angelify made a public post on Patreon on April 4, 2020, that the episode would feature the prominent recommended characters from January to March 2020, along with the regular recommended characters and name tags for February. Don't do anything, right? When Fries argues that 2 isn't that much better than 4 since they've been waiting forever to battle for limitless power, 2 teleports to the scene out of nowhere, more than happy to get started. After flying to the top of the bathrooms, announces that it's time for cake at stake. No one can hear them, so they levitate everyone to the roof of the bathrooms when Nicole is unable to help. 2 reminds Nicole that the viewers voted one of the 26 newbies to join the show and has a purple tomato, mangosteen, as the prize for whoever joins. 2 first states that everyone got at least 200 votes, before revealing that Rubber Spatula only got 177 votes. After Rubber Spatula finishes thanking their voters, 2 claps, causing them to fall through the roof floor, which is where they send all of the debuters who failed to join. 2 then goes through the rest of the possible debuters until it's down to non-existent winner. Winner wins and gets the tomato. 2 then realizes that with winner's addition into the 40 already existing characters, there are 41 contestants, which is a prime number and won't allow for evenly split teams. Golf Ball suggests allowing the second most voted newbie to join, making 42 characters, as no one wanted to quit to make 40 again, and 2 agrees. The second most voted is non-existent, but he doesn't help with adding up the number of contestants, so 2 decides to go with the third most voted, price tag. Afterwards, 2 has everyone take the elevator down so they can start team picking. On the way down, Nicole asks how the teams will be arranged and 2 goes with 6 teams of 7. A later tells 2 that they finished forming and naming their teams. 2 is relieved as they were afraid they'd have to make up the team names themselves. A says that may have been better, but Eraser shoves her aside to ask what the first contest is. 2 says they were about to announce it until they realized how ugly the area is and asks where the plant life is. A explains that it got burnt in lava. 2 asks what color the trees and grass were and remote answers green and yellow. As a result, 2 regrows them with their original colors swapped, with the grass now yellow and the leaves on the trees green, which Nayli likes, despite remote wanting to switch it back. 2 then starts the intro. Finally, 2 announces the first contest, which is to get to the top of the building. 2 then makes the mistake of jumping all the way to the top of the building before adding that anyone who comes up to the top can't go back down. 2 first reminds this to Lightning when he flies up immediately, and later Belle, Robot Flower, and Grassy when the latter carries the former 2 on her like an elevator. The challenge ends with Death Pact again losing the challenge. Most of the contestants agree that they only did so badly because they never heard the extra rule and proceed to gang up on 2 and beat him up. 2 then announces that the viewers will be voting to save the members of Death Pact. When Stapi and Lee are on the ground outside the exit, at the time when their escape plan from the escape from 4 fails. Lee then gets up and announces that it's time for Plan B, while Stapi knocks the tower down, revealing Fiery Jr. was climbing it, plus Roboti though he was among the stacked objects, knocking 4 backward. Stapi and Lee enter the exit, Lee removes the boards from the door, and Pencil asks what they are doing. Lee opens the door with a white light ending with a cliffhanger, where BFDI, Part 2's stinger will most likely take place. The episode starts with TV playing a recording of 4 suggesting to add back the original ABFDI as the winner's prize for Battle for BFB. Yellowface suggests to switch back to Battle for BFB, but Fanny disapproves and says that 4 had betrayed their trust. The others agree with Fanny. Fries then praises Fanny that she has the spirit of a leader, but asks if 2 does any better than 4 as a host, as the contestants have been waiting for ages to compete in pot. 2 then interrupts their conversations and starts floating around the building, and then flies to the top, reminding them that it was time for cake at stake. The contestants as well as the RCs stare at 2 blankly from the bottom of the tower. 2 then uses their powers to make them float to the top of the bathrooms. Cake at stake. 2 plays the Cake at Stake intro, the same one played at the start of Battle for Dream Island. Nicole asks 2 why everyone was brought to do Cake at Stake, and 2 reminds everyone that 59,151 votes have been cast on the 26 RCs, and only one of them are going to join the 40 veterans to battle. The reward for getting the most votes at Cake at Stake is a mangosteen, which 2 calls a purple tomato. 2 says that everyone got over 200 votes, and Clock says that's good to hear, but 2 interrupts him and says that they were lying and says that Rubber Spatula only got 177 votes. Rubber Spatula is shocked and says nobody likes them, but Penn assures them by implying that over 100 people liked them more than anyone, and tells Rubber Spatula to tell the voters how thankful they are. Rubber Spatula starts naming every single voter's name while TV shows the voters' names, but 2 interrupts and tells them to hurry up twice. Rubber Spatula quickly says the rest of all their voters' names, and 2 asks if they're finished and claps their hands to make the tile underneath them fall. The RCs gasp and 2 tells Shampoo that they won't be joining 2 with only 240 votes. Shampoo tries to thank all their voters, but 2 gets annoyed and makes the tile underneath Shampoo fall before they can go any further. 2 tells Kitchen Sink, Scissors, and Snare Drum that they didn't make the cut, and the tiles drop underneath them. Scissors gets stuck in the hole and says that they always make the cut, but the surrounding tiles drop around him and they fall. 2 tells Conch Shell, Boom Mick, and Clapperboard they didn't make the curtains, but Clapperboard makes the same pun, and 2 gets upset. Clapperboard gets 2's attention and drops the tiles underneath them. Camera tells them see you in post-production. 2 informs the 18 remaining RCs that each of them got over 1,000 votes, but Clocks thinks that 2 is lying, but 2 actually told the truth and tells Leaf that they only got 1,014 votes. Leaf asks 2 if they had a nickname for them and the tile under them falls. 2 next tells 9 Ball that they only got 1,033 votes, but 9 Ball says that number is hard to spell and doesn't really care, and the tile underneath them falls. 2 reveals that Camera, Blender, and Onigiri didn't get enough votes, but stumbles when trying to give Onigiri a nickname. Camera gets embarrassed and tells Blender to hide their lens with the lens cap that Onigiri has in their mouth, then the tiles underneath them fall. 2 informs the final remaining RCs that there are only 13 of them left, and Dissy replies with finally. 2 says eager now, aren't we? And Dissy replies yeah, so 2 makes everyone wait for the results, but then promptly says that Dissy is out, and a tile falls underneath them when they say wait. 2 next reveals that Z, income tax return document, Salt Lab, and PDA all didn't get the most votes. The tiles underneath them simultaneously fall, and income tax return document replies you'll pay for this, too. And PDA replies yeah, and we won't help you figure out how much. 2 responds by telling PDA that they know how to use a pencil. Ice Cube looks at 2 angrily, with a growing frown. Cloudy asks Ice Cube what's wrong, then she replies pencil. Shopping Cart tells the remaining RCs that they're the final 8, and the remaining RCs all get cheerful. 2 reveals that Anchor only got 2,265 votes, and was about to drop the tile, but Anchor insisted on eliminating himself by slamming into the ground, and 2 thanks him. 2 also reveals that Tape got out, but two pronounced it as Tapey because of how they give nicknames. Due to this, Foldy mistakes Tapey as Stapy and gasps, but Basketball tells her that two said Tapey, and not Stapy. Two claps his hands to remove the tile under Tape, but he taped himself to a surrounding tile to prevent him from falling. Tape tells Two that he is stuck with him, but Two peels the tape and shook it off their hand, and Tape falls. Two says shopping cart? Which implies that they are going to get eliminated, but shopping cart says aw. Looks like I didn't get in. Two comforts shopping cart by telling her that they didn't say that they didn't debut. So shopping cart thought they won the debut, but Two denied that and awkwardly drops the tile underneath them. After, Two says battery and avocado. But avocado interrupts Two by saying they should learn a thing or two about suspense, and they both jump down where shopping cart fell. Two informs the veterans that there are 3 remaining RCs, winner, non-existing, and price tag, but Nickel says Two that they can only see 2. Then Two says that they are flattered that Nickel finds them so attention-grabbing, but Two says the final 3 is over there, then tells winner and price tag to make room for non-existing. Two reveals the next one out is price tag, and drops the tile underneath them. Two reveals the final 2, and winner ends up winning the debut, almost 3 times the amount of votes that non-existing got. Two gives winner the mangosteen, and winner digests it. Just as Two is about to have winner join, they realize that with winner joining, he added 40 and 1, 40 plus 1, to realize that there are now 41 contestants. Winner questions what is wrong with 41, and Two says that 41 is a prime number. Winner then asks if prime numbers are illegal where 2 is from. Two is confused and tells that even 2 is a prime number, and is told that he is an even prime by Tennis Ball. However, Tennis Ball's quote embarrasses both Two and winner. Marker then asks what is wrong with primes. Fanny answers him by saying that they are impossible to divide up equally, because a prime number's factors are only one and itself. Two then points out that there can't be a prime number of contestants because then the teams won't have equal amounts of people. Golf Ball points out the nearest composite numbers are 40 and 42, and since no one wanted to quit, they would add in a second most voted debuter to make the contestant count 42. Unfortunately, the second most voted RC was non-existing, which didn't affect the count as non-existing equaled 0 due to being a non-visual character, so the RC who received the third most votes, price tag, was added to the competition, equaling 1 and bringing the total number of contestants up to 42. Creating the teams. Two orders the contestants, sends Black Hole, to board the elevator inside one of the bathrooms. Nickel asks what teams they will form, and Two suggests forming 6 teams of 7. Donut says he's sticking with Barf Bag, and Nelly says she's sticking with Bobby, but not on the same team as Donut as he expected. Coiny, Pin, and Needle join with Donut, with the intent of getting WOAH Bunch back together again. The camera cuts to Clock and Cake. Clock looks at Winner and exclaims it's Winner. You guys remember Winner, right? Cake and I say no, and Clock explains that Loser and Winner were a duo during the start of Loser's career. However, Loser eventually went solo, and Winner was forgotten. Nelly invites Cake to their team, because Cake was sad, and Cake accepts. Tennis Ball and Golf Ball stick together and Basketball joins too. Puffball complains that they forgot that she was a ball when they created a better name than that, a team that supposedly had all of the balls, and forcefully joins Golf Ball's team, even if they didn't accept her. Fries joins too, Eraser along with him. Pen looks at Eraser's team. Tree suggests that Death PACT should just stay the same since they coincidentally have 7 people. Everyone is on board, but Pen, wanting to be with Eraser knowing he has a chance to do so, is hesitant, and even though Pi tries convincing him to stay, he splits off to join Eraser. Fanny replaces him, due to Pen calling Death PACT haters, and Tree notices that Billow is gone. Pen joins Eraser and asks about Blocky. Fries tells him that Blocky stayed in BFB and that their team has 7 people already. Golf Ball complains about all the useless people the team has. So Basketball splits off, leaving the spot open, and joins Robot Flower and Grassy. TV takes the open spot in Golf Ball's team. Rocky teams with Yellowface and Cloudy. Saw tells Katie that she misses Lollipop and Taco, and they team up. Book is rejected by them, as she is told that she needs to meet new friends so she can be better despite already trying to redeem her actions since BFB 14. Book invites Ice Cube, which she also rejects, even while Book saved her back in the same episode. Pillow suddenly picks her up and starts reading her. Ice Cube joins Winner's team, and Saul and Katie join Barf Bags because they have zigzags. Lightning says he's a zigzag too. Snowball asks to team up, but Lightning rejects and leaves him. Nelly lets Price Tag join her team, saying that they look epic, and they both show their cat faces, to confirm if Price Tag is epic. Snowball tries to join but gets kicked by Nelly in offense about her being armless. Belle and Foldy team up. Marker tries to join but gets kicked out by Belle, and instead joins Lightning, which he reluctantly agrees to do so since he declined of being friends with him back in BFB1. Basketball invites Belle and Foldy to their team. Cloudy and Winner connect teams and Bottle splits off from Death PACT and joins them, to have fun, making a full team. Pillow puts Book down and Book tells her not to read her, but Pillow states she was just looking at the pictures. Pillow and Book then join Nelly and Taggy's team and Book begins talking to Bombi, reminding him they were both cranking the HPHPRCC back in FDIA 5D, as well as inviting Nickel, reminding him if the same thing, making another full team. Lightning and Marker join Death PACT as they accept students in preventing death. Ed tells Basketball that there is only one contestant that hasn't been picked yet, Snowball, who joins A's team, much to Basketball's disgust. Naming the teams. After joining, Snowball, out of pride from himself, says the team must be the strongest team on Earth. Lightning then realizes that they're already picking team names, and after thinking what they should name themselves, Black Hole says isn't it obvious? Let's just be Death PACT again, naming the team on purpose but lodging the word again in accidentally. Penn wants his team to be Death PACT again as well, despite having split from them to join with Eraser, but Golf Ball stops him, and almost chooses a name accidentally as she did in BFDI 9 and BFB 1. She stops herself prompting not to say another word, but Tennis Ball asks her "Are you okay?" and chooses the name by accident, much to her disappointment. Coiny, Pin, Needle, and Donut think their team's name should be WOAH Bunch, but Katie and Barf Bag disagree and suggest that they should be the Zigzags. The two sides erupt into an argument, and Saul tries to intervene, but accidentally slipped and shouted "We're Team ATES," from having sniffed on 8 Ball's fumes in BFB 8 and named themselves the Team ATES. Clock suggested their team name be the Winners, but Winner says that they don't want their name to be in the team name, which Clock understood and omits Winner from the team name, leading it to become the S. Price Tag says the other team names are stupid and Book tells them that as long as they are careful they can avoid choosing it by accident. Cake and Nickel agree, and so does Nelly, replying "We're just not," ironically naming her team by accident as well. Challenge. It informs 2 that the teams are named, and 2 reveals he was going to give them names. Eraser goes up to 2 and asks what the first challenge is. 2 says they were about to announce it but got distracted thinking about how ugly the area looked. They ask where the plants are, and it explains that everything got burnt up by the overflowing lava from BFB 14. 2 asks what color the trees and the grass were, and Remote says green and yellow, causing 2 to misinterpret her words, making the grass yellow and the trees green. Remote was about to tell 2 to switch the colors but Nelly says they look nicer like this, and 2 begins the new intro. After the intro, 2 says that the contest is to get to the top of the tower. 2 flies to the top of the tower, and once they are at the top, he tells the contestants that once they get up to the top, they aren't allowed to go back down. No one hears them, though, so no one is aware of this rule. Lightning says he won't forget to fly, flying to the top of the tower to then celebrate the victory. Tree says "What about us?" but he can't hear them. Remote gives Tree a megaphone, and Tree yells up to Lightning again, asking "What about us? How are we going to get up?" Lightning attempts to fly back down to carry them, but he is unable to go back down due to 2's powers. 2 then tells her that going back down is not allowed. Meanwhile, Are You Okay tries to climb onto Puffball, but they can't fit, leaving Golf Ball to say that there really wasn't enough room up there, referencing Gelatin's quote, used multiple times in Fgia. TV suggests using the trebuchet tennis ball used in BFB1, but because it had been damaged by the lava, Tennis Ball had to go create a new one. Cloudy is carrying Rocky, but he can't go very fast because Rocky will fall through him and puke on him. Grassy and Robot Flower hop onto Belle, floating up to the top. Grassy and Robot Flower hop off, but Belle is also unable to go back down due to 2. A directs Basketball's attention to the S, who has Winner throwing Yellow Face to the top. A suggests throwing people, and Snowball volunteers to throw, because he has arms. A suggests Foldy. Foldy says she's one of the lightest contestants but is worried because of how windy it is. Snowball ignores her, picking her up and throwing her, causing her to fly around in the wind. Basketball sees just not entering the building, telling them they'll lose if they take the stairs. Nelly calls her stupid, telling her they're using the elevator, leaving Basketball shocked she didn't think of that. A stays to watch Foldy while Basketball and Snowball chase after Just Not manage to get in the elevator before it closes, but Basketball and Snowball aren't able to. Snowball pries the door open, causing the doors to stop. Basketball heads inside the elevator shaft to try and fix the elevator. Marker tells his team about the broken elevator. He suggests using Fanny to blow them up, but Pi explains that Fanny's propeller isn't strong enough. Remote then exclaims she has a plan, grabbing Marker and uncapping him. She draws on the wall, explaining that they can run up the stairs, jump out, and be flung off of Black Hole's gravity. Death PACT again runs up the stairs, excluding Black Hole. Book hears their footsteps, and Cake asks them to get them out. Pi asks if they're dying. Cake says no, and Pi leaves them behind. Meanwhile, with Are You Okay, Tennis Ball has fixed the trebuchet, now making it more like a catapult. Puffball shoots them off, but it overshoots, causing them to land on the tree, launching them back. They begin to go back and forth. Fries fall out, so Puffball grabs Fries and uses him to catch the team and drop them on the roof, making Are You Okay the first team safe. Winner continues to throw their teammates up. Bottle shatters when she hits the ground. Clock kicks Yellow Face over, using him as a cushion to prevent Ice Cube from dying as well. Clock asks 2 if Bottle counts even though she's dead due to her corpse landing on the roof. 2 asks if it should, and Clock says it should, so 2 says it counts. Winner overshoots with Rocky, but Rocky propels himself onto the roof by barfing on Foldy. This causes Foldy to fall to the ground. Winner uses their arm to jump up the bathrooms, making the second team safe. Coiny claims he has a plan, grabbing Pin and using her sharp side to scale the bathrooms. Barf Bag does the same with Needle, and Donut does the same with Saw. They ask how they'll get Gady up, so Saw asks Donut to hold her over the edge. Donut does so, allowing Gady to use her magnetic hinges to float up to the top. This makes teammates the next team safe. Death PACT again is tired from climbing the stairs, so Tree asks if it's high enough. Remote throws a plant out the window, which goes into Black Hole, prompting her to say maybe we didn't think this through. Fanny puts one of her batteries into Remote, causing Remote to become super energized. At the bottom of the tower, Snowball pulls a random pulley, causing the elevator to drop. Basketball pushes Snowball out of the way, and the elevator bounces off of Basketball into the top, making Just Not safe. The elevator comes to the bottom, now fixed. And Foldy run in, and the 4 head into the elevator. At the top floor, Marker presses the up button on the elevator as they pass by. They reach the top, rushing to the edge to get Black Hole. Tree shouts down, but Black Hole can't hear them because black holes aren't known for their sense of hearing. Lightning tells his team they can't go back down. Tree pulls out the megaphone Remote gave him but drops it into Black Hole. Remote takes out the battery Fanny gave her, and Tree throws it down and gets Black Hole's attention. black hole begins to fly up, but the strongest team on Earth gets to the top before him, making Death Pact again up for elimination. Everyone gets angry at 2 for not projecting their voice enough, teaming up, and beating them up together. Stinger. The Stinger takes back 8 months ago, when Stacy and Lee are on the ground outside the exit, at the time when their escape plan from the escape from 4 fails. Lee then gets up and announces that it's time for Plan B, while Stacy knocks the tower down, revealing Fiery Jr. was climbing it, plus Roboti though he was among the stacked objects, knocking 4 backward. Stacy and Lee enter the exit. Lee removes the boards from the door, and Pencil asks what they are doing. Lee opens the door with a white light ending with a cliffhanger, where BFDI, tpot 2's Stinger will most likely take place. Debut votes. 59,151 votes were cast for the debuts. The contestant with the most votes was winner. However, since 40 plus 1 equaled 41, which was a prime number, the contestants wouldn't be able to split up into equal teams. They needed another contestant to join in order to make it 42, which can be split equally. So, Non-Existy was initially chosen to join since they were the second most voted contestant. However, because Non-Existy was nowhere to be seen due to being a non-visual character, Price Tag was chosen as Non-Existy replacement instead. Therefore, Winner and Price Tag both joined pot, along with the 40 contestants that switched from Battle for Be Winner, but the actual episode failed to get on the YouTube trending lists. This is the first object show video to ever gain 500,000 views in its first 24 hours. It is also the fastest object show video to reach 1 million views, doing it in 2 days and 10 hours, and also the first to do so in its first week. Tpot 1, also presumably all future Tpot episodes, will have closed captions, making it the first episode since the escape from 4 to have them available, as X marks the spot, and the following post-split episodes oddly didn't have them until March 24, 2021. 7. Every contestant received some amount of screen time in the episode as it was the first episode of a season. 8. This is the first and only episode of Tpot to release while BFB was still making episodes. This episode also marks the return of the original Cake at Stake intro from Season 1. With Winner and Price Tag both joining the game, this episode marks the 4th and 5th recommended character debuts in the series, with the first being back in 2011 in the episode Reveal Novum, the second being Yeah, Who? I Wanna Know, and the third being in the Hidden Contestant. This also marks the first time in the BFDI series in which there is double debut. In contrast to that, the Hidden Contestant was the first episode to have a double elimination. Non-Existy was supposed to debut, but since he equals 0 and wouldn't solve the problem of having a prime number of contestants, Price Tag debuted instead, so technically, it's a triple debut. There were over 59,000 votes in this episode. Coincidentally, this is the 59th episode overall. The Exiters returned in this episode. This is the first episode of BFDI overall to be released in 2021. Like some teams in past seasons, 3-4 team names were named as such accidentally, prompted by contestants saying "we're," or "we have to be," etc., with whatever is said afterward becoming the official team name. The only team that was not completely or partially named on accident was the strongest team on Earth. Numerous teams from Kdia are slightly referenced in the groupings. After Donut and Barf Bag decide to be a team, Coiny, Pin, and Needle suggested to join along with them to form the bunch again. This is a reference to the WOAH bunch team where Coiny, Pin, Donut, and Needle were, at one point, members. Golf ball, tennis ball, fries, and puffball are, once again, on the same team. Are You Okay? A reference to Team No Name, since Pen, Eraser, and TV weren't members. Rocky is in the S, and Gelatin and Fiery are on BFB. This is the first time since the Squashy Grapes in which Golf Ball's team doesn't have the word name. This episode has the longest title, 48 characters, beating Why Would You Do This on a Swing Set? 35 characters. It is spoken in the episode when the strongest team on Earth has almost gotten to the roof by elevator, and basketball rapidly pushes buttons, then they comments, you know those buttons don't do anything, right? Every member of the strongest team on Earth injured too at least once at the ending. In the same scene, Nickel, Fries, Pillow, Gady, and Rocky, albeit only because of Tree, all join in on yelling it or injuring too despite their teams never being affected by the can't go back down rule. It is most likely that they were upset that two didn't project their voice enough to say the can't go back down rule. This is the second non-15 episode to have a title that is a quote from the episode. The first three episodes following the escape from 4, tpot will focus to be similar to the episodes preceding BFB 16. 3, likewise, tpot episodes have higher quality in both animation and writing, but tend to release less frequently, unlike BFB, which tends to have its episodes 3-4 weeks apart. The Power of 2 has 42 contestants competing, 40 veterans coming from Battle for BFDI, and 2 recommended characters that were up for voting in the Escape from 4. Winner and prize tag were chosen, and are the 2 newcomers. This time, 2 is the host and get to the top in 500 steps. Ice Cube is still small from Return of the Rocket Ship. David is still orange from 4 Goes Too Far. Characters retain their permanent appearance changes. Saw still has her pink handle from Return of the Rocket Ship. Dora still has her ponytail from Return of the Rocket Ship. Oil Mountain is still wide open from the Escape from 4. Saw still has the 8 catchphrase from 8 Balls Fumes from Questions Answered. When Snowball in basketball didn't manage to get inside the elevator in time, Snowball shouted his infamous "Nah ooh ooh." Snowball also gets into the same pose as before, and even his mouth resembles that of the original assets. Most of the original Death PACT members decided to continue their legacy by naming their team Death PACT again, and their jingle is a remade version of the previous one they used when forming their team and getting Teardrop to talk. The Purple Tomato Prize is likely a reference to the Yellow Tomato, and Reveal Novum also given to the winning recommended character. The storyboard revealed that the silly sounds made when the contestants land on the roof are a reference to Fortunate Ben. Remote states black holes aren't known for their sense of hearing, as said in today's very special episode. Rubber Spatula thanking all their voters may be a callback to Penn telling all his voters he owes them $500 million vigintillion in the glistening while stating every username and speeding up in order to finish. When 2 announces, "It's time for cake at stake" twice and then tells Nickel to get the contestants, it serves as a callback to Puffball Speaker Box announcing the same thing in Zeeky Boogie Doog. When Ice Cube lands on top of Yellowface, it is a callback to the Halloween 2012 video, as Yellowface becomes squishy just like in that video. This animation would later be seen in 8 years later in Pumpkin 2.0, BFDI Halloween shorts. When Golf Ball told Penn that their team name must have another name than Death PACT again, which Golf Ball stopped herself from making that same mistake, is a callback to Insectophobe's Nightmare and getting Teardrop to talk. Tennis Ball ended up saying the team name accidentally, forming Are You OK? Penn wanting to be named Death PACT again only for Golf Ball to tell him that they already have the name might be a reference Insectophobe's Nightmare, when Fiery wanted to be called the Squashy Grapes only for Golf Ball to tell him the other team already has the name. Basketball starts to mention the first time Robot Flower betrayed her team in getting Teardrop to talk. Before Bottle joined the Echoed Fun is a reference about the same thing that happened to Blocky in getting Teardrop to talk. Clock mentions his truce with Ice Cube, which was made in getting Teardrop to talk. When Golf Ball said, "Get onto Puffball ASAP," it's a reference to Get in the Van when she demanded Team No Name to get onto her so they can get to the summit of Oil Mountain. While saying ASAP, Golf Ball also imitates the exact same movements she did when saying ASAP back in Get in the Van. Remote killing herself by taking out her batteries may be a reference to her audition in the reveal. When Clock said "That's good to know," it is a reference to Reveal Novum, when he says the same line. When joining Just Not, Book talks about how she, Bombi, and Nickel had cranked the HPHPRCC for many days, back in It's a Monster. When Just Not got into the hotel, Book was making the same walk animation as she does in PA5D. When Lightning says oh, now you're interested. After Marker asks if they want to be friends, it references getting Teardrop to talk when Lightning asked Marker and Stapy if they wanted to be friends, and Marker denied to. The same theme can also be heard in the background when Lightning first asked if Marker and Stapy wanted to be friends. Lightning promises that he won't forget to fly, referencing how he forgot to fly and getting Teardrop to talk, causing Ian to lose. His flight ironically causes his new team to lose. When Belle reaches the top, her ringing noise is the same from the reveal. The Stinger calls back to BFB17, when X had to paint. It was also 8 months ago. The final seconds in the intro reference the intros from Battle for Dream Island to IDFB, where the contestants are featured in an empty ground. If you listen closely, the bass line during that scene sounds reminiscent of the music theme for the first 3 seasons' intros. Pin, Rocky, and Fries appear to be standing around a potato plant in the intro. The grass by Cloudy's collection is still green, as the collection and grass surrounding it was not submerged in lava. The top of the tree is also still yellow, since it also was not submerged in lava. The blueberry tree is also still growing more blueberries. The pose eraser is in one levitated onto the roof where Cake at Stake is a reference to his BFB intro pose. When Are You OK is being flung above the building for the first time, Eraser is in the same pose he was in when Flower pushed him off the balance beam and take the plunge. Eraser even has the older assets that were used at the time, as his mouth is colored, his eyes are more rounded, and his limbs are drawn more crudely, much like the earlier episodes of BFDI. When he is flung by the tree, only his mouth remains the same as before. When the trebuchet gets ready to fling Are You OK a second time, Eraser reuses a pose from today's very special episode, when he stepped in Four's excrement. When Just Not reaches the roof, Book has an old arm asset when she opens the elevator door. When Gaty gets stuck on Saul, she does the same animation from BFB2 when she got stuck on Pin. Blender taking the lens cap out of a nigiri mouth is a reference to Welcome Back, when Bubble takes out the lens cap ice cube head in her mouth. Coiny and Barf Bag used Pin and Needle to climb up the washrooms in the episode. This was a reference to income tax return document dodging the 2 spikes that jut through the wall of his room in the stinger of uprooting everything. Gaty's sitting pose when the rest of her team got to the top, is a reference to Welcome Back, when everyone was trying to bust the TLC's lid, Gaty was sitting in the corner of the screen. The group watching a BFDI being added back as a prize for BFB on TV at the beginning consists of Fanny, Cake, Puffball, Cloudy, Pie, Black Hole, Yellowface, Clock, Donut, and Fries, which is the very same group of people that only switched to Pot in the first place due to a BFDI being replaced. The pencil that 2 held is similar to the one that 4 used and X finds out his value. When Rubber Spatula realizes that they got the least amount of votes, they say I can't believe it, nobody likes me. It may be a callback to when Robati states nobody likes me in Reveal Novum when he figures out he got the least votes. Also, Robati only got 2 votes when everyone else got at least 3, and Rubber Spatula got only 177 votes, while everyone else got at least 200. Also, when it was revealed that everyone, except for Rubber Spatula, got at least 200 votes, Clock says that's good to know, the same thing he said in Reveal Novum when everyone, except Robati, got at least 3 votes. In the intro, Eraser cutting a pentagon into a quadrilateral and a triangle with Saw is a reference to getting Teardrop to talk, when Blocky used Saw to cut a pentagon in half. Cultural references. The way Pin, Needle, and Saw are used to get up onto the top of the building may be a reference to Getting Over It with Ben and Foddy. After Tennis Ball fixed the trebuchet, TV's screen shows Are You OK's icon in the fashion of the famous bouncing DVD logo. Leak holding the recommended character flip phone could potentially be a reference to the famous Vocaloid original, triple baka, as Hatsune Miku, the main singer's main item is a leak, and the song uses Akita Naru's flip phone for various musical elements. Blender is nicknamed Blendy by 2, which may be a possible reference to AGF's stick-type coffee with that name. Deaths. Bottle is accidentally killed when Winner throws her to the roof and shatters into pieces because she had nothing to land on. Remote has her batteries removed. Wise. Goose. Rocky's body is light gray when 2 tries to announce that it's time for cake at stake. The back of Robot Flower's head appears to be the same as the front in several scenes, when she enters the elevator after cake at stake, when she runs towards the hotel at the start of the challenge, and when she attacks 2, even though the lens should be covered in the back as shown in the intro. In the intro, Remote's facial details are black instead of white. When 2 asks where all the plant life is, Marco does not have legs. Elimination will face their first elimination in the entire series, excluding failing to join FIA and switching to BFDI. Similar to BFD4, this is the second episode of BFDI tpot, which is the exact number of 2. Due to that fact, this will most likely be another special episode. This episode might be the episode where Lai opens the mysterious door in the exit. This will be also the second time a recommended contestant is the first one eliminated, the first one being Donut in FIA. If Black Hole, Pie, Remote, or Tree is eliminated, the first eliminated contestant in BFDI tpot will be a former member of Death PACT. If Lightning or Fanny are eliminated, the first eliminated contestant will be a member of the Ants. If Marker is eliminated, the first eliminated contestant will be a member of Free Food. If Black Hole, Lightning, Marker, or Tree are eliminated, a male will be the first person eliminated in BFDI tpot. If Fanny, Remote, or Pie are eliminated, a female will be the first eliminated in BFDI tpot. This would also mean it would be the third time a female is the first eliminated. The first was Flower in BFDI 2, and the second was Pencil in BFB 2. If Fanny or Lightning are eliminated, this will be the third time a member of the Ants is the first eliminated, the first being Pencil, in BFB, and the second being Flower, in BFDI. If either Pie, Tree, or Lightning is eliminated, then their respective voice actors no longer voices anyone left in the game. As no one in this team is voiced by Michael, this is the first season where the first eliminated contestant isn't voiced by Michael. This is the third time that Lightning and Fanny are up for elimination in the second episode. The first is Lick Your Way to Freedom, and second being What Do You Think of Roleplay? This is the second time Marker was up for elimination, the first being this episode is about basketball. If Pie is eliminated, this will be her second time in the bottom 2, the first time being Fortunate Ben. If Fanny is eliminated, an armless contestant will be the first eliminated in BFDI tpot. If Lightning is eliminated, a legless contestant will be the first eliminated in tpot 2 will be the second episode of Battle for Dream Island, The Power of 2 and might be the 62nd episode of the overall series. Not much is known about this episode, except one of the members of Death PACT again will be eliminated. Votes. 59,695 votes were cast. The 48-hour voting period has ended. Note, these aren't the official results. Our votes differ from the final episode and come from bfb.figgeek.uk/. Therefore, for all intents and purposes, the result, so far, is not to be reflective of the actual results. But it is really obvious for who will be eliminated, especially for who became the first one video. If you new here or you haven't subscribed, go like and subscribe. If you want more content like this, then suggest anything in the comments. Peace.